Hey guys, it's Ian here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another comic book issue. Today we're looking at Helen of Wyndhorn, issue 6, which is the last issue in this part of the story. Apparently this is volume 1. There is going to be a more epic saga to continue from here. When this last issue came out, I saw a tweet from Tom King about it. I don't know if that's going to mean that he's going to continue to work with Bilquis Evely. I hope so, because I find that her style is a defining feature of this series, but you never know, right? Because the comic book industry is full of turmoil and you never really know what's going to happen. But this is the end of the story for now. There is going to be more coming. I don't know when, probably later in the year, next year, probably by the end of 2025, or maybe early 2026, because I find that that's probably the earliest that they're going to be able to get anything done with this story, right? So we'll see. But overall, very happy with this story. I think I'm really enjoying it. There are some issues that I think become more and more glaring over time, and that's just a styling issue that I have with the way that Tom King decided to tell this story, because I feel like there's too many jumps between eras and storylines, and I don't necessarily find that to be enjoyable. But I think that's because of the medium. If this was a novel, I might have been more willing to be with it, because it would have been easier to understand. But I don't necessarily think that Tom King is a good novel writer, right? So it makes sense that this would be a comic book. Either way, I'm very happy with this book, even with some of the issues. And I don't think that I can really expand on those issues all that well right now. I think I have to reread this and then do a full review of it and then explain my issues properly, because I don't necessarily know if that's actually an issue overall, or just an issue, like a problem that I have issue to issue, because I want more of the main story and less of the extra stuff. And right, if you look at the overall story, that might not be a problem when you look at the whole thing. It might only be a problem when you're looking at each piece, right? So I don't know if that made sense, but hopefully when I do a review for the whole series, it will be clear, right? So yeah, it opens up with a trireme, which is a special type of boat. And it turns out that this trireme is run by a group of pirates, and they have escorted Helen and Barnabas to a portion of the ocean, and they have reached the edge of what they're willing to traverse. And so at this point, they have to tell Barnabas and Helen, or Othan as they would know him, that this is as far as they go. Please disembark here and go on your way, and we will leave, right? The thing is that now that it's time to part ways, the captain of the ship, called Magorge, waxes poetically about the fact that Helen is beautiful and wonderful, and that he is afraid and sad for her because she's leaving and because she's probably gonna die in this perilous journey. And Barnabas is cranky. He's like, dude, shut the fuck up, move on. You're ugly and hairy, and get out of my way, right? And Engorge, or Magorge, whatever, allows Barnabas to be mean to him, but does move on with his life and decides to give them a boat and let them row away before he leaves, right? And so Helen and Othan, or Helen and Barnabas, are rowing into a dark cove. It almost looks like when Harry Potter and Dumbledore go into the Horcrux cave, right? And as they enter this dark cove, they see a single shining woman who waits for them. And this woman chastises Othan. She tells him, just because you have saved one of my children does not mean that you are allowed to do what you please and take as long as you like. And Barnabas responds, it's not my fault. Things happened, and I couldn't get away and come here quickly enough. The woman chastises again. She says, just because you have excuses doesn't make them good, right? And so she ends her tirade by kissing him, and it turns out that it's Helen's grandmother, Othan's wife, / the goddess, the Hearth. And as the kiss continues, the cove lights up in splendor, and we don't get to see anything anymore because of how bright the light is. However, it eventually comes down, and Helen and Othan continue after the woman disappears. So now that they're continuing on through the cove, it turns out that she gave him a underwater breathing blessing when she kissed him. And so Othan and Helen jump into the water. And Helen is initially cautious about this. She can't breathe underwater. She's not sure that she'll survive, but eventually Barnabas leaves and doesn't come back, and so she has to jump in anyways. And it turns out that she can breathe underwater, that she has special inherited abilities, because what they're doing here is actually visiting Helen's mother, who was the goddess of the ocean, And the queen, or the goddess or god queen of the mermaid people. And they actually interact with some of these mermaid people as they dive down into these depths here. They are attacked by these mermen called the Unders. And Barnabas eventually is like, why are you attacking us? Do you not know who this girl is? She is the daughter of your god. And so they immediately disperse, they leave, and the mermen, bring them some steeds, and these steeds turn out to be horned whales. And when I say horned whales, I don't mean narwhals. I mean like big, humpback whales that have horns coming out of their mouths. It's almost like mammoths that are whales, right? Whales with mammoth tusks, and it's really, really cool. It's really ridiculous, but it's fun. I really enjoy the whimsy of it. And these horned whales take them down and down and down, deeper into the abyss. It eventually opens up to this beautiful palace that reminds me a little bit of Wyndhorn, actually. And it turns out that this palace is where Helen's mother resides, where her body is stored, and it's in perfect condition. It's immaculate, probably because she cannot decompose even if she is dead. And it's a really beautiful moment. Helen finally gets to meet her mother. She sees her, and then we see the characters come back up, go to the beach, and they sit there. And Helen and Barnabas spend time together, remembering C.K. Cole, remembering her father, remembering his son, and then they eventually come home. And they have fulfilled the quest that Lilith gave them, which is go, bond, and deal with your problems together. And later, we get to see that Barnabas and Helen seem to head on to another adventure at the end of the story. And this is where this part of the, saga ends. We get to see that old Lilith is back again from the beginning of the story, and she's talking to the journalist guy, and she's passing down her story. And then we get to see that the journalist grows old, dies, his stuff gets sold off, then the young man gets it, and then it's passed on to someone else. And that kind of ends that story too. But again, that story doesn't mean much. The only story that matters besides Helen and Lilith's main story is the story of the journalist. And the fact that that ended so quickly and kind of meaninglessly is kind of annoying. And I understand that this is supposed to be kind of like Narnia, where hearing about these stories transports these characters somewhere. I don't care about those characters. I care about Helen and Othan and Lilith. And any time that we spend away from them is time wasted, in my opinion. And so that's kind of the issue. But like I said, I don't know if that's only because issue to issue it feels like a lot, but if you look at the story overall, it might not be that much. And so I think that I have to look at it as holistically as possible to see if that's really a problem, or if it's just me being annoyed issue to issue because out of the 22 pages that we have, we only spend 19 or 20 of them with Helen, and I would like to spend all 22. So I don't know, we'll see. But those are my thoughts on Helen of Wyndhorn number 6. I think it was a phenomenal story. I really, really enjoyed it. I love the combination of so many things, right? It's a little bit like Narnia. It's a lot like The Witcher, or, it's supposed to be like Conan the Barbarian, right? Where C.K. Cole is supposed to be Robert E. Howard, and Othan is supposed to be Conan, specifically probably King Conan, more so than just normal Conan. And Helen is supposed to be some other character that takes on them, that kind of world, right? But because of the setting and the style, I think that Barnabas reminds me more of The Witcher, and Helen is more like Ciri, or Sari, whatever her name is, the young girl, then it is completely Conan, right? And it's also supposed to be a little bit like a Jane Austen novel or a Brontë sisters kind of novel, and it manages to combine all of those things really, really well, and I really, really enjoy it. So I love this story. There is a hardback that's going to come out here in January. I'm gonna get it, and hopefully we get a deluxe edition of it at some point, and I will buy that as soon as it comes out. But I do want to collect the whole thing. I do need to track down issue 3 because I couldn't find it. Maybe they'll do a reprinting of it at some point here in the future. I'm not really sure, but I hope they do. And yeah, 10 out of 10 series for sure. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.